What is up, Ludy Bros Army? It's your boy, Big Bro Lamar Ludy, and as always, my little bro, Logan Ludy. He's rolling with me, and we rolling hard. We're coming up on episode 8. We're coming up on episode 8 of this the Bulls documentary that has just been sensational. You know, it's taken our nation by storm. Everybody's watching it. Everybody's tuning in. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody's got a viewpoint. Well, we want to hear yours. First and foremost, let's get this out there. We want you guys to make sure you've hit that notification bell. We want you guys to subscribe. We want you guys to hit us up in the comments. Leave us a thumbs up. Leave us a thumbs down. Either way, we don't care. We just want to see you guys interacting with us. We want to talk with you. Don't be afraid to type a message in the comments. We read them all. We respond to them all. And you know, we want to really get this basketball thing going. So we really want to talk with you guys about that. All right, hey, little bro, why don't you bring us in a little bit on episode 8, and let's get started with this discussion.
All right, so episode 8, we got, rumblings, in the media, right before the playoffs. Michael Jordan is returning to the NBA. I'm back. And, this was, a little unprecedented because it was being teased and rumored for about a few weeks. And then when it finally happened, all media was buzzing, Michael Jordan's back. And, just right before the playoffs, but people are wondering, is he going to be ready? Is he going to be, in shape? Because he still has his baseball body, and it didn't really pan out for them really. They go up against, the Orlando Magic, which at the time was a tough team.
Mm-hmm.
Tough team.
Oh yeah, real tough team.
And, they had a young Shaq, Penny Hardaway, D. Scott. They got handled easily.
They had Horace Grant.
Yeah,
too.
And they had Horace Grant. That was big. That was big for them.
Felt like he knew a lot of the things with the Bulls organization and how they played. They had Horace Grant, who he helped them out. So keep going.
Yeah, and they eventually defeated the Chicago Bulls in that year, and they go on to the finals to face off against the Rockets. And then he after losing that, that was his, motivation to, get back in shape. He had everybody, or right after that game, he told his trainer, "I'll see you tomorrow morning."
Yeah, I remember that too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he, got in the gym, working out, getting back in shape, getting ready for, this next season. And we have Space Jam filming. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about that going on right now?
Well, first of all, Space Jam it's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's a cute movie that you can sit down with your kids and you can enjoy it with your kids. I actually just watched it maybe 3 weeks ago. I sat down here with a couple of the kids and we sat down and we watched it. And it's a good, funny movie. Michael Jordan, Bugs Bunny. How can you go wrong? So right. That was cool. But the thing is, the reason why we're bringing that up is because during the time that he was filming Space Jam, he also had the studio Warner Brothers studio go ahead and build a training facility so that he could be getting his workouts in, getting his shots in. And then he's inviting, NBA players to come and play with him there on set. So we see guys, Reggie Miller showing up, Dennis Rodman showing up. They're coming in there and they're getting their workouts in alongside Jordan and getting himself back. Now, something that I like, and then something that I kind of didn't like. I love the fact that he's inviting those guys and he's playing with them. I don't like the fact that people are saying that, he was sitting there with an ulterior motive and bringing them in so then that way he could take notes on their game. I believe Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I don't have any problem, with that. But it's did he really go to the extent of bringing these guys in just so he could, nitpick the little things out from their game that he couldn't, get from film or anything like that? No. What do you think about that?
Well, no. Look, when you're trying to get back in shape for, playing the NBA, the top tier competition, you need to play against the best. You need to play against the best to improve, to be the best. To be the best, you have to beat the best. Mm-hmm. And, that was his way of getting ready to be back to playing in the NBA. Mm-hmm. So that's why all this other, getting him in to take notes. What are you going to do when you're taking notes? You're going to have a pen and paper out there watching everybody, scouting everybody? Come on.
I know. That's what
you're trying to play. You're trying to play, work on your own game, work on your skills. I mean, the people who said that are just haters.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
all.
wondering if he was borrowing some of the camera equipment from Warner
Oh
Brothers
yeah,
there, so then that way
yeah.
he could record some of the stuff that was going on and some footage. It's just one of those things. Now, so they go ahead. He's doing Space Jam. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, go ahead and see it. It's a cute movie. Sit down with your kids and watch it. He's doing Space Jam. He's getting himself ready. And then what do we see after the summer? We see the Bulls come back fully focused, locked in, and ready to go. And what happens with that? That's when we get that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say they become one of the greatest teams of all time.
That's right. They become one of the greatest teams of all time. That's when we see that 72-10. I mean, just to put that in perspective, I like that scene where they're on the plane. I believe it's Steve Kerr, and he says that Scottie Pippen's got the newspaper, and he's looking through the newspaper. And he says, "Hey, I don't think we're going to lose a game for the next 3 months." And it's like, man, and the thing is, like, it's kind of true. Like they had it so dialed in and so focused in. Everybody on the team is focused in to what needs to be done for them to go out and rectify, that loss to the Orlando Magic. Now, for the people who like to point out that Jordan lost to the Magic, I'm going to ask you this: we already went through the season; they go 72-10. Right? They might have some things along the way, but they're going to go 72-10 through the season. When they got into the playoffs, who do they run into during that road? That same Orlando Magic team. And Lil Bro, why don't you tell us what happened when they ran into the same Orlando Magic team that had beat them the previous year? What happened to that Orlando Magic team when they faced again the next time when you have a full power Jordan?
Well, when you have a full power Jordan, man, you're going to get spanked out the gym and swept all the way home.
That's right.
He sent the Orlando Magic home early. They will not be going back to the finals. And I mean, shoot, Michael Jordan went crazy in that series too.
Yeah.
And Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. So, like when you get Michael Jordan back at the peak of the powers, you had them rolling through teams, basically beating everybody. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about that.
We talked about it in a previous video. He took that break. He took that mental break. He went to play a different sport. He recovered, somewhat from his father. And actually, that's something that we can talk about. When he came back in that season, he's wearing 45. The year before, they go 72-10. One of the things that they mentioned was the fact that he was so nervous coming into that game. If you're looking for a way to humanize Jordan, why not pick moments like that where you can, where he's like, quote unquote, one of us. He had his shorts on backwards. He was completely nervous going into the game. He's pressing a little bit too hard. He's having a rough game. Why not pick something like that if you're looking to try to bring him down, I guess, in some way? But if you just want to relate closer to him, why not pick a moment like that? Why pointing out? Instead, you're trying to point out when it's playoff basketball and he loses to the Orlando Magic. Well, you know what? What happened the next year? That's what I got to say to people like that.
Right.
What happened the next year? They get swept out, and it's the same Orlando Magic team. Shaq is better. Penny Hardaway's better. I mean, they're better because they're a year older. They're a year wiser. They had been to the finals already. They faced Hakeem Olajuwon. So, they're a better team. But what happened? The truth came out. When you have Jordan at full power, he's going to go ahead and he's going to be able to do whatever he needs to do. So before we get into the matchup in the NBA Finals for that season, that first full season back for Jordan, was there any other issues? We're talking about Space Jam. We're talking about the road, the 72-10, and we're talking about facing off with the Magic in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Was there anything else before we get into this thing with the Seattle Supersonics that stood out for you in this episode 8?
No, I mean, I think we pretty much hit, most of what's going on. I mean,
I don't want to overlook that 72-10. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to overlook that. That's an amazing feat.
I mean, they did. I mean, there's not much to talk about. They beat a lot of people. But no, I mean, let's go ahead and get up into this final matchup.
Okay.
I don't really have anything else that we missed.
Okay, now I'm gonna lean in a little bit here. I gotta lean in a little bit. The reason why I wanted to separate the two things, I was a huge Sean Kemp fan when he played in Seattle. I liked Gary Payton. I liked Detlef Schrempf. I mean, they had a team. They had Nate McMillan. George Karl's the coach. That Seattle Supersonics team, they were not a sorry team. Actually, in a previous video, Lil Bro, you said that you felt that the Sonics matchup was the easiest matchup of the 6 championships for the Bulls. I respectfully, humbly disagree. I feel that if things would have gone a little bit differently, maybe we make that switch. We put Peyton on Jordan earlier on. Gary Payton made the comment about George Karl, saying that George Karl wanted to protect him and save him for offense. I've got to say this: you're in the NBA Finals. You've made it here. You've made it to the promised land. You can't hold back.
Right.
And Peyton being an all-time great that he is, you've got to be able to go over and do everything you can. Whether it's defending him and coming down and getting your points, you've got to find a way to do that. So for me, sitting here and watching this episode 8, it brought back all the memories for me of watching my team going up against Michael Jordan. I liked the Lakers growing up. I respected the Bulls growing up, but my team was the Seattle Supersonics. And Sean Kemp's shoe, the Kamikaze, that was my first shoe that I played organized basketball in. Was that shoe. It hurt. It hurt. It hurt to see. Michael take it away from me once again. It hurt to see that. It hurt to see that. So, but the thing of it is that Michael was beating all-time greats. The guys that he beat, let's go down the list of guys that he beat to this point. He beat Magic, he beat Worthy, he beat Clyde Drexler, he beat Charles Barkley, who was the MVP at the time. Now you're adding in Gary Payton and the rest of the Sonics. These are all-time greats, and we haven't even talked about the Utah Jazz and who they have on their team. These are the all-time greats that he's beating. You know what I mean? What do you think? What do you think about that as you're running down the list of guys and you're seeing as this documentary is going on and it's educating you a little bit more about some of the things that are going on? What do you think about that?
Well, first to come at your thing about Gary Payton guarding Michael Jordan. Yeah, he would have done some things, but in the end, I think the same result would have mattered. But to think about him, taking on the best of his era, that just is most important to what makes Michael Jordan great is that there were a bunch of great players in the 90s era, a bunch of great teams, but he went through the trials and tribulations and beat all of them, all the people he went up against. That's why he's undefeated in the finals.
Right.
Charles Barkley, great player. Clyde Drexler, at the time when he played, he was considered, on the same level as Jordan. Not the case. Magic Johnson, he'd already won 5 titles. He was holding it down. He was the best player, or one of the best players, in the 80s with him and Bird. He knocked him off. Now we're on to this, Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. That team, that was a great team too.
Yeah, 60 plus wins.
Yeah, 60 plus wins, great team. They were probably the first Lob City.
Oh yeah, City. Sean Kemp. Yeah. Hey, if you don't know Sean Kemp's dunks, go ahead. You on YouTube already. Once you're done with this video, go ahead and type in Sean Kemp highlights. You'll see him dunking all over the place. He was Blake Griffin before there was such thing as Blake Griffin. Right. Let me just say this though. I'm not going to go back and revisionist history this thing. I do agree with Payton. I should have tried that earlier on. But at the end of the day, Jordan and the Bulls, they were able to get the win. Now, my boy Sean Kemp, he ate up Rodman. Rodman. I'm going to go ahead and say that to you guys. He ate up Rodman in a way that, nobody had done.
Back up in the microphone.
So I just want to go ahead and say that, he did eat up Rodman. But, overall, the Bulls, they got us. And it came down to Father's Day. That final game, Game 6 was on Father's Day. And you see Michael Jordan, he's clutching the trophy, holding it tight. And the emotion comes out, because his father had been murdered. And that tragedy had happened, and the emotion comes out, and you see Jordan. And even in that moment for me, I'm sitting there and I'm kind of reliving some of the things from my childhood of watching that whole series play out. But to see Jordan like that in that moment, I felt happy for him. I felt sad for him, and I felt happy for him. Both ways, seeing him like that, clutching the trophy. And it's just another part, like you just said, it's just another part of what makes him, so great is that he's able to come through when the moment is brightest. Jordan was able to come through, for lack of a better term. He was able to come through and get the win,
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing, and another point that I want to point out is, greats like him, they're going to require challenges, and every challenge that you put in front of him, especially on the NBA final stage, you already ran down the list up to this point. We haven't touched on the Jazz yet because we're going to save those for the future future videos we do on this part of the documentary. But I mean, he keeps passing those challenges. Even if you want to look at baseball as a challenge, he went out there and he starts making himself a respectable player. To harken back to a previous video, everybody who dealt with him during baseball was said if he would have kept playing, he would have made it to the major leagues. They all said the same thing. So every challenge that he's putting before himself, he's hitting it.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to take away from this video? Or are you ready to get us up out of here, little bro?
I'm ready to get us up out of here, man. So do you have anything else?
like I said.
another
hey, switch over onto that man. Just like at the park, when someone's lighting you up, what do? You switch over onto him. Payne, you're the best defender on the court. You got to switch over onto that man. Things might have been turned out different for us. Shoo.
All right, y'all. Hey, thanks for joining us, for this, extensive review. I mean, I hope you guys are enjoyed the, Michael Jordan docs. We got a few more reviews left to come. So you'll get our complete series on that. Hey, Ludy Bros Army just keeps growing and growing and growing. We're almost up to 100. Soon we'll have a massive following sooner than you know it. So please hit that subscribe button, mash it. All right, keep sharing them videos on social media. Let everybody know. Ludy Bros know what they're doing, know what they're talking about, and you gotta check them out. All right, catch you guys later.